Welcome to another edition of Let's Play TNA 2016. We are now officially 2 weeks away from the next one night only pay-per-view, Champion versus Champion. Because on that night, and it becomes official tonight, but on that night, you will see the GHC Tag Team Champions, the Killer Elite Squad, against the TNA World Tag Team Champions, the American Wolves. It isn't going to be for a tag team title. It will be Champion versus Champion. But that's not the only thing that keeps that gets going tonight, as this is also the first show since the beginning of this season that Dixie Carter is not featured in a promo, especially after what happened last week with her and James Storm. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you could go back right now and watch the last episode of TNA of this Let's Play series, where Dixie Carter and James Storm close out the show as James tells Dixie that her being in charge isn't the problem, it's her wanting to be the main person on the show. So, instead of continuing to talk about last week, let's get to this week. And we kick off with the first pre-show match of the night, as Rockstar Spud goes up against Bryce Benjamin on the pre-show, and Spud gets the victory. Speaking of the pre-show, and speaking of Rockstar Spud, the man who Spud beat in the first round of the World Title Tournament, Eric Young, is in the other pre-show match tonight, and Eric Young beats a local talent pretty easily, as EY gets the win. Now we kick off with the show, and unlike most episodes of Impact, we kick off with a match, and it is Mr. Anderson once again defending the TNA Heritage Championship, this week against another former TNA alumni. This week is Tomko. Now, if you don't remember when Tomko worked for TNA, then that means you, number one, either have not been a TNA fan for long, or number two, you block out periods of history from TNA wrestling, because Tomko took 2 stints with the company. Yes, his second stint wasn't as long as his first, but still, he was with the company twice, and was a pretty important part of the company in his first run. Back in about, I want to say 06 or 07. I forget though, to be honest with you. But either way, Mr. Anderson dazzles us with a 78 in-ring performance, and unfortunately, and for Anderson, he actually hyperextended his elbow during the match. Hopefully, it isn't anything serious. Apparently, there's a little backstage heat on Travis Tomko, as it is felt he was responsible for the mistake. Well, and because I can't change things on the fly, even though Anderson got hurt during the match, the attack from Tyrus still happens, and you will find out later tonight why Tyrus attacked Mr. Anderson. Oh. Yeah, we'll complete the gimmick change. Damn it! I changed this gimmick and it still got a below average rating. Now we head backstage with Dixie Carter welcoming her newest signing, the man who we've hyped up the debut of since the beginning of this season. It's the debut of the Prodigy. And all he says to Dixie is, "Your money wasn't wasted. I was born to do this." Now we move forward as Homicide goes up against Mike Bennett, and Homicide gets the win via the cop killer in this one. To end this one, rather. Now we head backstage as Bobby Roode and the Hardys are strategizing for their main event 6-man tag team match against EC3, Bram, and Rob Echoes. And now we move to the arrival of the Prodigy. He gets a long, drawn-out entrance. He grabs the mic, grabs the mic, and says, "Your dreams have come true because the Prodigy is here." And in his debut, the Prodigy goes up against Brent Albright, and unfortunately, Brent Albright did better than the Prodigy. As for the in-ring performance, I'm hoping that this isn't the start of something that I should have realized a while ago, because I've invested a lot of time, as you know, into the Prodigy, and I had held on to a lot of hope that the Prodigy would be good. But hopefully this is just him not living up to expectations right out of the gate. But either way, the Prodigy gets the victory after disappointing me with his in-ring performance. Much like we saw earlier with the other side of the coin, now we head to the heel side of the 6-man tag team match, but instead of them just strategizing, they actually cut a promo hyping up the match and saying that they're younger, they're smarter, and tonight they prove exactly why they're better. But first, we hit up the Knockouts match as Gail Kim and Brooke Tessmacher team up against the beautiful people Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky as Brooke defeats Madison Rayne. That's right, Brooke, who hasn't been seen really since losing the Knockouts title to Velvet Sky. But either way, Brooke gets on the mic and says she wants in the title match at the next One Night Only because she never got her rematch against Velvet Sky for the Knockouts title, so it's very possible that the title match at the next pay-per-view will be a fatal 4-way. Speaking of what I mentioned earlier in the show, we go to the highlight package of last week, and the announcers put over the fact that we have not seen Dixie Carter come out to the ring and cut a promo since last week and what happened between her and James Storm, and the video package is the highlight if you missed it. Now we head back to the ring as Alex Shelley, the returning Alex Shelley, goes up against DJZ. And unfortunately for Alex Shelley, DJZ gets the win after blatantly cheating and allowing him to lock in Submission Impossible to catch the victory over the veteran. Now we head backstage as JB is standing by with Tyrus. And like I said earlier in the show, you're going to hear now why Tyrus attacked Mr. Anderson. And Tyrus basically says, what EC3 wants, EC3 gets. That title promotes a legacy that doesn't deserve promoting. It promotes a legacy that deserves to be laughed at and talked down about and forgotten about. And once I'm done with Mr. Anderson, that is exactly what we'll have with that heritage title. A legacy to be forgotten about and rewritten. Now we move to another video package. This one is promoting the feud between the Killer Elite Squad and the American Wolves. Speaking of the Killer Elite Squad, it's been a while since Harry Smith and Lance Hoyt had competed, so I figured why not put them in the ring this week against the Von Erich brothers, as they quickly send back Ross and Marshall from whence they came, and then they proceed to accept the challenge set out by the Wolves last week, but only they make it seem like they put out the challenge as a way to disparage the rumors that they're afraid of the Wolves, as they call out the Wolves and accept the challenge. So that means it is official. Later this month you will see, or should I say in 2 weeks, you will see champion versus champions. The tag team champions of TNA going up against the tag team champions of Pro Wrestling Noah. It's the Killer Elite Squad against the Wolves. Now we head to the 6-man tag team main event as Rob Echoes, EC3, and Bram go up against the Hardys and Bobby Roode, and the babyfaces win. And though this is probably the worst in-ring performance I've seen from Jeff Hardy thus far, it really doesn't say much when him and Bobby Roode are the only ones in the 70s. Hell, him and Bobby Roode are the only ones in the 60s, even, as Matt Hardy, Bram, and EC3 all got in the 50s, and Rob Echoes disappointed with a 44 in-ring performance. I know some of you might be saying, what's the big deal? But the better the in-ring performance, the better the rating of the match. Not saying that's not a good rating for a show. I'm just saying, could have been better, or I wish it would have been. But either way, the babyfaces win, only to be attacked by EC3, Rob Echoes, Bram, and the newest member of the faction, Eric Young. Eric Young shocks us all by running out to help EC3 and his cohorts attack the TNA veterans, and it leaves many scratching their heads, because isn't Eric considered a TNA veteran? But that leaves now James Storm and Kurt Angle run in and help the veterans. Jeff Hardy, Bobby Roode, and Matt Hardy send a runoff Bram, EC3, Eric Young, and Rob Echoes as the babyfaces, particularly the TNA World Heavyweight Champion and James Storm, stand tall with Jeff Hardy in the ring as the show goes to black. And once again, we gain popularity as our first show in Puerto Rico is a success, giving us a 62 final rating and increasing our popularity in 27 regions. Things are seemingly looking up for us in TNA. And I will tell you this much, I can book to around where Lockdown was originally, and I will book the April pay-per-view just like TNA would book Lockdown, only there will only be one 6 Sides of Steel, and it will be the main event, as I figured there's only one way to settle a certain feud, and that's with Lethal Lockdown. But that's coming in the month of April, so you have 2 months to wait. But that's 2 months from now. In 2 weeks from now, we will see the next TNA One Night Only champion versus champion. I also just want to say before this video ends, thank you to everyone for 100 subscribers. I was dumbfounded and got goosebumps when I noticed the subscriber count reached over 100. I have said in the past that I'm not one for numbers, but it's a surreal number when you see it. Thank you everyone thank you to those who subscribed, And also thank you for the continued support for this channel. I really appreciate it. I don't only do this for the fact that I find it fun and I'm doing it anyway. I also do it for you guys, and you guys make it all the more worth it. Thank you. So now there's only one way to finish this video, and the way to finish this video is if you like the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. See you in the next video. Later.